All right, now we have consent.
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah.
I'd like to just draw a contrast between the resolutions that we've just read,
Or proclamations.
proclamations, and the proclamation that that seems to have generated some controversy. I think it's instructive that proclamations that don't call for any particular action are of one kind. Proclamations that do in some way, even though they may not be binding, call for some sort of action or make it's a judgment call, but we do need to have, I think, a way to assess the implications of proclamations that call for action. Two come into mind. One is the Rosarito, and the other one is the Open City, the recent one. Both of those
Welcoming City.
Welcoming City. To the extent, and there may be others, but to the extent that a proclamation calls for action that could involve city activities that may cost staff time or commit the city to a certain amount of activity that wouldn't be there in the absence of the proclamation. I think we need to really consider how those are vetted. It's hard to know what's going to be controversial and what's not, but clearly when some sort of responsibility is implicit in the proclamation for further action or behavior change or asking staff to do A, B, or C, there is an implication there that warrants a different kind of review or thought process than a proclamation of like the two types that we just did today. So I just put that out there. I think we're all learning from the experience, and we need to have a process that makes those distinctions.
I have to agree with Mr. Spriggs. The only reason I opposed that other proclamation was the fact that I don't.
Wait, I'm sorry, you weren't at the meeting.
I wasn't at the meeting, but
I made
sure to voice my opinion to Andy Hall. The fact is that I don't believe.
Wait, you did it in closed doors. Is that correct?
Behind closed doors,
Okay,
yes.
not in public.
Not in public.
You weren't here for the meeting. You missed
Can I
the
speak,
meeting.
please? The fact is that partisan politics does not belong in these chambers. When we step into these chambers, our partisan affiliation goes completely out the door. And something as polarizing as this, and I am a grandchild of an immigrant, but when it's a federal partisan issue and something that has polarized our country so much should not be brought into these chambers.
But you could have attended the meeting to make that statement.
Well, Mr.
You skipped
Dedina,
it.
Unfortunately, I work for a living, so I had to stay late in order to
So you skipped
pay
the
bills.
meeting. So you could have made that statement. You could have asked for it to be pulled, but you skipped the meeting.
You could have understood what
Excuse me. Everyone's had an opportunity. Everyone's had an opportunity to speak.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to call for a 5-minute recess.
Sounds good.
You want to be rude? I will be rude. Yes, you are. Your safety is at risk.
It's not. Just from you, buddy.